What's going on, guys? Got the black and purple on the list today. The black and purple. I'm going to be coming at you guys with some Baltimore Ravens draft grades. Um, they had a pretty solid draft. They picked 28th overall. First round, they went Patrick Queen, the linebacker out of LSU. 6'1", 227. I gave this kid about a late first, early round second grade. He went late in the first. So he went pretty much where I thought he was going to go. Really athletic linebacker, sideline to sideline. He can keep up with running backs like that. Brings pop. He loves to hit. Really good in coverage. He will mirror a running back and a tight end extremely well. He's able to blitz at times. He creates havoc in the backfield. He does it all for you for a middle linebacker. But he's a bit undersized. He'll get beat up in the run. His length is a little bit of an issue. He should eventually, though, become a three-down linebacker. 131 tackles, 4 sacks, 3 years. It was a really good pick by the Ravens that already have a really good defense there. So it was a really solid pick late in the first for the Baltimore Ravens. So the second round, they went J.K. Dobbins, the running back out of OSU. 5'10", 216 pounds. I gave this kid a late first, early round, early second, mid second. They took him in a second. He's really a well-rounded running back. Very good receiver out of the backfield. Catches a lot of balls. They used him as a workhorse last year. OSU. They pounded him into the ground, over 300 carries. Doesn't shy away from contact though. Tough, real tough. Got high character. Really tough too because he fought through an ankle injury in the national championship game versus Clemson. It was a pretty bad ankle injury, I guess, too, and he fought through that the whole game. He won't hit the home run though. When you get the ball, he doesn't have that breakaway speed, and he doesn't have a lot of big plays on his resume. But he's a really good, well-rounded running back. He's really solid. He should work well. Really good with Mark Ingram there. They should have that nice 1-2 combination. It's a really solid pick by the Ravens there. He had over 4,400 yards, 6.2 yards per carry. 38 touchdowns, 71 catches, 645 yards, and 5 touchdowns receiving. And that was in 3 years. Then he had that huge year in 2019 where he rushed over 2,000 yards last year. And that's just, like I said, they used him as a workhorse last year, and that's exactly what he was. They ran him into the ground, but he rushed over 2,000 yards, and that's very impressive. So that's just another weapon added for Lamar there. Then they went in the third round, and they took Justin Madubuike. That's a tough one to say. The defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, 6'3", 305. I gave this kid a late first, early second round grade. Mainly second, but they took him in the third, so it was a really good pick for a guy being available still. He's a compact interior lineman. He's quick to shoot the gaps, heavy hands, great balance to play the run. Everything you kind of look for in a defensive tackle. His pass rush moves are a little bit limited though. He'll struggle with blockers. If he gets caught up with blockers, he has trouble shedding them. But he should develop into a really nice pass rushing defensive tackle. 105 tackles, 24.5 for loss, 11 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and 4 pass breakups. So that tells me that the guy's all over the field, and that's in a 3-year span. So he's all over the place, man. I really like the 5 FFs, the forced fumbles. I really like that. It tells me that he's always going for the ball. He's always trying to make a play. You always want that in a football player. Interesting too, his last name, Madubuike, I looked it up too. His last name equals "my family is my strength," which I love. That's a really cool name. I just kind of looked at it. I didn't even mean to find that. That was just kind of there, and I just thought that was really interesting interesting, and I thought I just mentioned that. Yeah. So they still had a third round pick, and they went and picked Devin Duvernay, the wide receiver out of Texas, 5'11", 205 pounds. I gave this kid about a third or fourth round grade. They took him in the third. Really powerful kid. They say that this kid is like a running back that's playing wide receiver. He's got that kind of stout kind of body, got that running back build. He's a burner who can hit the home run. He gets the ball in his hands. You think there's a really good chance he's gone, and that's awesome. He's an absolute playmaker. Makes catches in traffic, good hands, everything you're looking for. But he played primarily in the slot, so he won't be playing out wide or anything like that. He's usually a slot receiver, so he's not a great route runner. His route tree was limited at Texas, so we'll have to learn the nuances of the game, and I'm sure he will over there in Baltimore. I'm sure Harbaugh will have him ready to go. But he's a special teamer that's going to really contribute in the slot, move the chains. He's always a big play waiting to happen. You know what I mean? So that was a good pick. He had 176 catches, over 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns in a 4-year span at Texas. He had 1,300 yards last year as a receiver in 2019. So the kid's a baller. So we're still in the third. The Ravens had a lot of third-round picks. I think they ended up with 3 or 4 third-round picks here. Their next third-round pick was Malik Harrison, the linebacker out of Ohio State. He's a Buckeye. He's a dirty Buckeye. So that was a little bit of a shot. He's 6'3", 245, thumper. I gave this kid about a third, fourth round grade too again, and they got him in the third. He's a thumper, man. He's got strong arms, strong hands, really good blitzer. He's always creating problems. He's not a covered linebacker though. He's more that traditional linebacker, that thumper, that 2-down linebacker that can be used on blitzes and stuff like that, on third and longs. If he's going to be on the field, he's going to be either blitzing or he's going to be left on an island, and you don't want that. But if he's used as a blitzer, that's extremely well. That's good. 205 tackles, 29 for loss, and 10 sacks in a 4-year career at OSU, which is solid, which is really solid. It's still a good pick, man. Good pick. So then still in the third, they went and picked up Tyree Phillips, offensive guard out of Mississippi State. 6'5", 333 pounds, just a mountain of a man. I gave this kid like a fourth or fifth round grade, and he ended up getting taken in the third. Beast of a kid, powerful. He finishes his blocks. He's nasty. He's got good hand placement. He's a really good guard. Really good guard. Like every old lineman, he needs to work on his footwork. He has some trouble with speed rushers. So a little bit of seasoning, he could probably end up being a starter eventually for the Baltimore Ravens. Then they went out in the fourth round, and they picked up Ben Breda, offensive guard out of Michigan. I gave this kid about a fifth round grade. He got taken in the fourth. I actually liked him just a touch. They were really close. Him and Phillips were really close. I had him at 6'5", 315 pounds plus. It was really close between him and Phillips there. Maybe a little bit of bias because of the Michigan, you know what I mean? But he was a 4-year starter for Michigan there. Big body, powerful legs, everything you want. Finishes with a nastiness. That old line at Michigan was pretty nasty last year. Really smart. He's smart in the pass protecting game. Doesn't get caught up. Doesn't get tricked with the weaves and all those trickeries that the D linemen try to do to get through to the line and get to the quarterback or into the backfield. Not athletic though, a little bit slow footwork, and like I said, that's every damn old lineman that I talk about. They all got the same thing almost, man. But he should become a starter down the road. That was a solid pick. Then they went out in the fifth. They didn't have a fourth round. Well, they did have a fourth round pick. They took Breda. Sorry, in the fifth round they took Broderick Washington Jr., the defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. So they stayed again in Texas. And 6'2", 305 pounds. Gave this kid was about a sixth or seventh round grade I gave this kid, if I can remember. I don't have the list in front of me, but usually I know off the bat. But this kid was, he's a little bit of a mystery. I don't really know where this kid's going to play. He played on the edge for Texas Tech, and he played inside. They list him as an edge player, but he's more inside. But he's kind of one of those tweeners, one of those tweener defensive tackles, defensive ends. Not sure where they're going to stick him in the NFL, but they'll have a plan for him in Baltimore there. 3-year starter. Position will, like I said, will be a question. So I don't know if he's going to play inside or outside. Doesn't have a variety of moves. So if he'll get caught up, he'll try to power rush a guy. And if he gets caught up, he doesn't really have anything else. He doesn't have a plan B. And he's going to need a plan B in the NFL. That simple. He's just going to need a plan B, and he doesn't have that. So, but he's a project, and who knows? 138 tackles, 2.5 sacks in 4 years. So I thought that pick was, it wasn't that great of a pick. Then they went in the 6th round, and this was a pick that I really liked. This is a kid, James Prost, the wide receiver out of SMU. 5'11", 195. I gave this kid about a 5th round grade. This kid played like a beast in the slot. He's a slot guy. Good hands. Made some highlight reel catches at SMU. Creates separation with his feet. He's got really good, quick feet. Fierce competitor. Everything you're looking for in a wide receiver. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's not big, though. He strictly played slot, but that's okay, man. He should become a weapon for Lamar. Should become a really good weapon for Lamar. Really productive, too, at SMU. 301 catches, 3,900 plus yards, 39 touchdowns in 4 years. So the kid gets in the end zone. He makes big catches. He was over 1,200 yards receiving in 2018 and 2019 alone, with double-digit touchdowns in both. So, and he also returns kicks on special teams. So the kid he stays on the field, man. He's one of those guys that you just want to get the ball in his hands. Then, this was the last pick of the draft for the Baltimore Ravens. They went on, they got another good one. Went on, got a kid, Geno Stone, the safety out of Iowa. 5'10", about 200 pounds, 205 or 210. I gave this kid about a 5th round grade, late fourth, early 5th. He went in the 7th. Like I said, these guys know way more than I do. But I make lists. And that's where I had this kid. I had him. I thought he was going to get drafted late in the 4th, 5th round. He's a physical box safety, though. Real feisty. He'll cover the running back and he'll cover the tight end really well. He doesn't have a lot of length to him, though. But he'll get in there. He'll try to tackle. He rarely misses tackles. So he's always trying to head up on somebody. He'll definitely carve out a role on that Ravens D. Just a little bit undersized, limited range and speed, but like I said, he's going to carve out a nice role on that defense with 127 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 6 interceptions, and in a 3-year deal. At Iowa. So he had a pretty good college career there. I'm going to end up giving these guys an A-. I thought they murdered the draft. You can't really say anything really negative. I thought they only had maybe 1 or 2 picks that were a little bit not the greatest, but other than that, they slayed it. They murdered it. A-, and yeah, that's it, man. They did really well there. So I just want to give a shout out to my boy Chris Green. What's going on, buddy? Gonna be I'm waiting on you. See what's up, man. We got some talking to do, and we got a lot of plans, big boy. A lot of plans, bro. All right, and we'll see you guys around, and I'm gonna have some more grades for you guys probably tomorrow. Maybe I'll try to get some Lion stuff in soon, but I'm trying. I got a bunch of teams on the horizon, so I'm not ignoring any teams, man. I'm trying to do this in order, okay? So everybody be patient with me, and I'll get to you, okay? Thanks a lot, guys. Be safe. Boom.